Hi everybody. Today I want to talk to you about a supplement that I'm very passionate about. I've never been what I would call passionate about any supplement. I mean, I'm just factual. You need your vitamin D. You don't get it in winter. It's just what we need to do. And I guess I'm passionate about healthy lifestyle, but I've never been passionate about a supplement. And ion, which means the intelligence of nature, which it really is what I'm passionate about. I first found out about ion when I was working as a buyer and being in charge of the wellness section of our store. It's founded by Dr. Zach Bush, who is a triple board certified medical doctor, endocrinology, internal medicine, hospice, and metabolism. He was doing chemo research, then he opened a plant-based healthy clinic in Virginia. And when he was in chemo research, I guess he was looking for a redox molecule that he didn't find for cancer research. And then one of his co-doctors, scientists, brought him a paper, and he found that redox molecule. And it comes from 60 million year old soil in the southwest of the US. So what had happened is, and I've seen this too, is that he had with his patients, he had 1/3 that no matter how healthy the food was, didn't seem to be responding. And what it comes down to was their gut lining was in such a mess that it didn't matter how good the food was going into them, they were going to have not so good and sort of a negative reaction to it. So another thing I liked about the product is, when I was learning, was that 100% of the profits go towards supporting farmersfootprint.us, which is supporting regenerative farming. And we absolutely need regenerative farming to save the planet, to be supported. They also have programs where they're apprenticing young indigenous boys and girls to learn about regenerative farming and take it back to their communities. And just many things like that. It's just fabulous. So what is it? Well, as when I was a buyer, the most important things for me were that it was vegan, gluten-free, allergy-free, made in a factory that's also allergen-free, all those things, because that's what my customers were looking for. All those things were important to me. It's a liquid. It's tasteless. Very important. Tasteless. Doesn't need refrigerators, like most of the probiotics do. So all these were a plus. 6 years shelf life was a huge plus as a buyer for me. And it took me a little while, because so many people are coming, as a buyer, so many people are approaching you about all these wonderful products, and, you're wondering about shelf space and, how does it fit in and what the quality is. I started listening to Dr. Zach Bush on YouTube and on Spotify, on podcasts. And the only time I've ever heard him talk about the product is when the interviewer asked him. And otherwise, it's about regenerative farming, the microbiome, the environment. So and the other thing I want to mention is I highly recommend listening to some of the interviews. They're just fascinating. You're going to learn so much. The older interviews, though, if an interviewer asks them, they're going to mention Restore, which was the original name. But I believe it's when they went international, I think they had to change the name. But I really like the intelligence of nature, because for me, that's what it's all about. So now I'll explain my understanding of our whole gut, how important it is. Our gut runs from your nasal passages to your rectum. If you take one hair follicle and split it in half, that's the thickness. That's how delicate it is. And that's 1 cell thick. Our skin, I think, is between 50 and 100, something like that. So it gives you an idea. It is held together. So it's the surface area of 2 tennis courts. So all this very delicate tissue has to be held together. So it's held together by these, like, it's sort of like Velcro, you know, because we can relate to that. But they're called tight junctions. And we have them all over our body, okay, tight junctions holding us together. But what's happening now is, whether you believe it or not, we all have some level of leaky gut. Leaky gut happens at those tight junctions. So leaky gut, why we all have it, is because now glyphosate or Roundup is in 75% of our air, soil, and water. It is, that's it. And the real sad news that I heard recently is the people, I think it's Bayer Monsanto really, have been given 13 more years permission to use glyphosate Roundup, which is absolutely tragic. So it's in our air, soil, and water, so no matter what we're doing, we're breathing it in, you know, we're eating it, so it's affecting, and it breaks down that delicate lining. The other things that break down that delicate lining are antibiotics. And you might, like me, I haven't been on antibiotics and had them in decades. You know, so, you know, I think, well, I'm doing pretty good, but I'm breathing it in, I'm breathing in glyphosate, so I get that. That's bad enough. But if you're an animal eater, more antibiotics are used for our animals than anything else that we eat. And if anything, you could at least eat grass-fed animals that don't have any that are antibiotic free. It's really, that's a step. You know, that's a step to preserving your body and keeping it strong. Now, those tight junctions are, when they become leaky, the other thing to remember, the most important thing, is that's where, behind that, is where 70 to 80% of your immune system is made. But along with that is, in that lining, is 90% of your serotonin and 50% of your dopamine. So right now, what I see people dealing with is anxiety, immunity, all kinds of gut issues of all kinds. And it all originates in the gut. And people are now understanding that whole gut-brain relation. I mean, the tissues come from the same, the gut tissue and the brain tissue come from the original same tissue in utero. So they look alike. So, you know, we're thinking, okay, what's happening now is that, why is this important? I mean, I'm going to be taking this for the rest of my life because, unfortunately, glyphosate is in our air, soil, and water. If it's already 75%, they've been given 13 more years. Not only that, our environment is becoming so toxic. I mean, we have pesticides, herbicides, alcohol also is destructive to your gut lining. Medications, you know, there are heavy metals in medications. People are getting sicker and sicker. Our kids are getting sicker and sicker, which is the saddest thing. So this is the only thing I know to get the communication system tight and talking to each other. With leaky gut, your cells can't communicate. And when your cells can't communicate, it creates chaos, literal chaos in your gut. And the more chronic your disease is, the worse condition your gut is in. Within 15 minutes to half an hour, Ion starts working on those tight junctions, getting them to do what they need to do, which is to tighten up. Then you have a beautifully working, I guess you could call it a liquid communication board. You know, then your nutrients are going to be absorbed, and it's going to keep the toxins out, and that's really important. And I'll give you some examples of that. When I started Ion, I had no issues. I've been a qualified plant-based counselor and teacher since '97. I've been eating this way since the 80s. My daughter lived an extra 32 years. The doctors gave her 5, and she lived an extra to 37 because of plant-based diet. So I didn't think I needed anything for my gut. But I didn't know at that point that Roundup, glyphosate, you know, this is what people spray on their lawns. Another thing to pay attention to is that if you see in spring these little yellow signs at the corner of a garden or something, that's just been sprayed. I've checked on the chemicals used. One of the chemicals or derivative of Agent Orange, 2,4-D, was actually sprayed where I was living. And that night, my daughter was having some seizures and my dog was throwing up. But you don't see it, but you see in the people that are innocent like that and have no judgments, the effect it has on them. So, you know, I'm fine, but I started Ion, and I wanted to experience, especially after listening to Dr. Zach Bush talk, I was going, okay. And what I noticed first and foremost was clarity of thought. That was so, so nice. And, you know, I didn't think I had brain fog. I mean, I was clear. I didn't think I had brain fog. But it went from a sort of, I give you an example of, to sort of grasp how I was feeling. If I had been doing a puzzle and I was looking for where the piece fit in, I might try here, try there, and, you know, until I found it. Well, this is like, it goes right there. I know it goes right there and it fits in. That's sort of an idea how it felt for me. Easier to make decisions, easier to understand situations, a peace of mind. And the other thing I found was, I'm a big walker hiker, was the sense of well-being and stability, not that I wasn't stable in my walking, that I have now in that. And it's sort of like, and one of my customers was saying after a couple of weeks how she was out running, she felt like she was flying. Well, I have run the marathon decades ago. And I know in training that some days you just hit that place where you're just cruising. You know? So I understood that. And that's sort of what my walking feels like. It's just like, let's go forever, how far, and it just feels good. So that's what I experienced, not being on medication or having, you know, any challenges at all. But I got a ton of great feedback from my customers. Everything from, you know, being able to maintain body temperature for a Lyme's person, to, you know, stomach issues cleaned up. And one of the ones that touches me the most was a family with an 8-year-old autistic boy. And I'd been working with her with nutrition and stuff. And then I found out about Ion being tasteless, because for autistic kids, taste is a challenge. You know, they can, I don't want to use the word picky, but, you know, that sort of thing. And so the first week, this young boy had diarrhea since birth. The first week that was gone. Then another 2 weeks, Dad comes into the store, you know, where am I, you know. So he said, this is miraculous, you got to hear this. And I'm going, what? He said, my son is answering us now. We ask him, what did you do today? And he tells us. And the teachers are saying he holds eye contact better. Wow. I know, as a mom who raised a special needs child, that changes your life. That's huge. And I didn't know about, when my daughter was alive, I didn't know about Ion. If I had have known in 2012, I would be in a different place right now. I really do believe she would be alive, because the cause of her death was her gut, her intestines were backing up on her kidneys and shutting them down. And she had been, until I added raw smoothies and some more raw when she was 30, she had been constipated for the first 30 years of her life. you only know what you know when you do. And that's from, I was reading and researching from the very beginning. So now I just wish every special needs child was on this. I wish everybody was on this, but especially special needs children, because that's where my heart is. An example of what's been happening with our environments, because our environment's getting so toxic, our foods are getting so toxic, is that in 1975, 1 out of 5,000 children had autism. Then you go from 1975 through the 90s, when there's more and more chemicals on our soils, more sprays happening. You get to 2005, 1 out of 88 children. That's a huge leap. In the last 6 years, autism has doubled. And it's predicted, right now, it's 1 out of 36. And if we keep going the way we're going, by 2030, it'll be 1 out of 3, which will literally financially crush this country, because not only is autism escalating, cancer, diabetes, all the mental, the Alzheimer's, the dementia, all the other issues, asthma, you name it, any disease is just accelerating. So, what can we do, at least in our individual life? And this is why I'm so passionate about it, because I look at our bodies as, say we look at it like a house. Well, our guts are the foundation. This is the foundation to everything else. Leaky gut, all your autoimmune, and personally, I think every disease, because it puts the body in a state of chaos where cells can't communicate. So healthy cells, don't live that long, and unhealthy cells multiply and become things like cancer. So I really think it's the beginning of everything. And you wouldn't build a house with a cracked, rotting foundation. You just wouldn't do it. It's not even common sense. Even biblically, they said that you build your house not on sand, but on rock, on something solid. So Ion, 15 minutes to half an hour, starts working on those tight junctions, getting them to tighten up. Then, like I said before, the cells start communicating. One nice thing about, as you go along with Ion, is, and I just mentioned about the cells, the healthy cells live longer, promotes them living longer, and it promotes the unhealthy cells, it's called apoptosis, to die off like they should, instead of feeling isolated and multiplying. So isolation creates chaos. So then you tighten up the tight junctions. And at first, when you take Ion, you might see some bowel changes. That's a good thing. Okay, it's healing. Everything's healing up. And with not too much time, you're going to start having the best bowel movements you ever had in your life. And that's, in the natural world, that's just a sign of health. People pay attention to those things. It is, for taking Ion, the regular dose is 1 teaspoon 3 times a day. There was a white paper published study done that taking Ion for 2 weeks at the recommended dose, 1 teaspoon 3 times a day, within 2 weeks, the roundup or glyphosate went down 23% in your body, and inflammation by 17%. I don't know anything else that does that. That's awesome. And that's with no change of diet or exercise or anything like that. There's no toxic level. There's no contraindications. It's just that if you're on like a thyroid medication, you just wait a half an hour between taking your medication and taking Ion. I sort of tell people, if you're on medication, just take them a half an hour apart. Ion can do its thing, your medications can do its thing, and everything's fine. Worst case scenario would be because someone who's highly sensitive took too much to begin and they got like a headache. And if you know you're sensitive, I mean, you probably had a history of it, and all you do would be back up your dosage. But if you're sensitive, you know, so start small. Start with a baby dose. A baby dose under 2 for a child under 2 is 1/4 of a teaspoon 3 times a day. Now, you could even go lower than that. You could go, because Ion comes in a nasal spray, and we have several sizes here. We have the 2-month, we have the 1 month, we have the 2-week, and we have the 6-day, and the nasal spray. So what you would do is, these come with pumps. You can order pumps, you know, if you go right to the website. These have dropper tops. So real sensitive, you didn't want to do the nasal spray. You do 3 to 5 drops 3 times a day, and then work up. I know of a woman, an older woman, who it took her 3 months to get to 1 teaspoon 3 times a day. There's nothing wrong with that. She had major gut issues, and now she's doing great, but she had to work up slowly. In my background of health and nutrition, we always say to people every 3 to 5 days, then add a bit more until you get to the recommended amount. But also the nasal spray is a great way to start. You know, 3 to 4 times in each nostril. If you're real sensitive, that's a good way. And do that a few times a day and just work up, and it's fine. I use the nasal spray in the morning no matter what, because your gut starts here. So why not? Let's clean up, you know, the nasal passages, give them, and I do it morning and night for me. And then I take my regular Ion. I do more than a teaspoon 3 times a day. I'm sure I do a tablespoon 3 times a day. And for a period of time, I wanted to experiment. I literally did 1 ounce 3 times a day. Because also, you know, in my past studies, you know, your blood changes in 90 days. So, and then healing starts. So you want to give I don't care what supplement you're taking, you want to give everything a 90-day period, at least, to give it a chance to show you what it can and can't do. So this little one here, I love this little one here, because I can carry it with me so easily. So I just refill this all the time. You know, I can stick it in my backpack and off I go for the day. You can put it in your purse. You can even put it in your pocket. Keep it in your car, you know. It's great because the cap itself is 1 teaspoon. So you just fill the cap, boom, you go. And I've noticed with some people that they have trouble with the midday. Like, there's no refrigeration here, so I just keep it by my bed. I got my pump somewhere here. I got my pump, and this is generally what it looks like, ready to go. So I take it in the morning, take it at night, and I usually, you know, if I'm out and about, either I just take this with me, or I have a water bottle on me, and I put it in my water bottle. I used to just put it in my little lunch bag to go to work. If I was having a smoothie or something, I put it in my smoothie and take it that way. There is, you know, just look at how your lifestyle is and what's the best way to get it into yourself. And my contention is just get it into your body 3 times a day. It's so crucial to your health and well-being. This little, you know, tasteless supplement is so crucial. And this goes way beyond probiotics. You know, probiotics, there are only about 3 to 7 strains. A lot of them you have to keep refrigerated, which is really inconvenient if you're on the road a lot. And whereas what happens here is when your gut heals itself up and those tight junctions heal up, your body itself makes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of strains, way beyond what a probiotic could ever do. Probiotic will, you know, after a while create a monoculture. This will be specific to your body and your needs. Thousands, I think it's thousands of strains actually. It's like its own beautiful, healthy Amazon forest right there protecting you. So now, you know, going forward, you know, the toxicities are there. This is the only thing I know that we can take some control back and help our bodies function as best it can. First of all, you're going to heal up, you're going to, you're just going to see clearer thoughts. What you get with leaky gut, and remember, whether you want to know it or not, we all have leaky gut. We all have, if we have a chronic disease, we definitely have leaky gut, and severe leaky gut. Or someone like me who had brain fog and didn't realize she had brain fog. But what also is so neat, and what I love, is, when your tight junctions are working well, your nutrients are going to absorb better. So like all my plant-based foods, all that stuff, it's just going to absorb better. And it's going to protect, the barrier to protect us from toxins is going to be working. My vitamin D, and the only thing I changed was doing ion, just went up to in the 60s, 60-some NGs. When you are above midpoint with your vitamin D, you cannot get a cytokine storm. Your immune system's working. We need our immunity to work for any and every disease, flus, cold, viruses, but for our whole body. And the missing link, this is the missing link. For my daughter, I didn't know about this. Because my daughter, the food I cooked for her every day, fresh, organic food. It was just wonderful food. But I didn't know, I didn't have the knowledge that she really had leaky gut. All special needs kids have leaky gut, for sure. I didn't know that. So no matter, I was giving her this great food, and it wasn't absorbing. It wasn't giving her what she needed. So yes, I'm very passionate because I really think this is a game changer. I think I've seen it change lives. I know it can change life. I know my well-being is so different, and my clarity of thought, and on every level, physical, emotional, spiritual, my life is just better. Now, we're going through these critical times when you need a healthy immune system. Your immune system is, made to protect you if we support it, but we've got to support it. Ion also comes for pets, dogs and cats. And so this is the ion for dogs and cats. And there's been a trial study on 12,000 cows over a 9-month period. The only change was ion. And of course, these cows have no prejudice. And 600 less deaths over that period of time. Now, my 16-year-old dog, in a month, is on ion. He doesn't know he's on ion. But the changes I've seen are just heartwarming. This is something great I can do for him for the rest of his life. It's tasteless, so it works great for your pets. They're not gonna know it's there. I put it in his food that he's gonna eat for sure, and then he gets that in him, and then he can have the rest of his food. And also, when you have taste-sensitive people, this tasteless is great. So what has happened to him is he's eating. He was a picky dog. He's a little 18-pound cockapoo. Always terrible eater. And he was not influenced by treats. You couldn't influence him with a treat. Now he's an eater. Now he's looking for treats. Now it's like night and day, this dog, as far as he's finally eating. And he was starting with his elder age to get this cough, and he rarely coughs now, rarely. So that's going away. Vet says he's strong and healthy, and he's getting frisky again. He's getting his friskiness back. Oh, I love it. I love to walk in the door after we've been out for a walk, and he just runs in the house all excited, and I just love seeing that. And I hadn't seen it for a long time. So, so easy to do for your pet. We've got 2 sizes here, and that's just so easy to. That was my original dog, Mikey, my daughter's dog. I wish I had ion when he was alive, just like with Bree. you've got an opportunity here. The other thing to do is if you're in a store and they have the brochure, you can, on the QR code here, that's a QR code, and I'm not a real technical person, but I know you can scan this and you can get there's many scientific papers. You can get them all. The other thing is check out the question and answers, because that'll cover most of the questions you might have about, what it is. But I'm trying to cover everything with you right now. So this is an awesome, awesome product. Yes, I'm very passionate about it. I'm thinking of another thing. I'm just trying to point out how generally sicker we're all getting. 80% of the American public is immune suppressed. Ion. I mean, I keep going back to ion because you're gonna absorb, any of your supplements, your zinc, which is really important for colds and flus, your magnesium, your vitamin D, your quercetin, your vitamin C. If you're taking them, why not make sure they get absorbed properly into your body? 1960, 4% of the whole population, every age, had a chronic disease. So just a few years ago, I remember this. I'm talking 3, maybe 4 tops, but probably 3 years ago. 46% of the children by the time they were 18 had a chronic disease. That's huge. And now it's 52% of the children by the time they're 16, 18, now 16, have a chronic disease. That's how fast everything's accelerating. So we're so lucky that at this time, when we so desperately need it, that ion is available. Mother Nature, it's almost like, once again, Mother Nature's on our side. It's because we haven't been on her side. She keeps trying to help us. Mother Nature has provided something like this by getting, working through Dr. Zach Bush and his co-scientists, that we have this at this time to repair our gut lining, and the profits go towards regenerative farming to support Mother Nature. So that's I like that. I like, win-win. That's all, win-win situations. Leaky gut, we all have it. You're going to have inflammation. You're going to have a weak immune system. You're going to be totally open to toxins, of all kinds. Your digestion's going to be terrible, and you're going to have brain fog. So, you take ion and give it time, 2 weeks, no matter what, taking it 3 times a day, you're going to know your glyphosate has gone down 23% and your inflammation 17%. That's proven. But you're going to notice clearer thought, making decisions better. Your digestion's going to be so much better. You're going to be protected from, those toxins. And you're going to, those healthy cells live longer, unhealthy die off faster, which is what you need. You're going to have better sleep. Kids go verbal, autistic kids go verbal. That's my personal experience. You're going to have less wrinkles. You're going to start looking younger over time. So, as an example of that, I live a plant-based diet, and in our macrobiotic community, we all know that, people think you're, at least 15 to 20 years younger. And you've also, I'm sure, seen people who look 15 to 20 years older than their actual age, because we call it living a hard life. So with this, it's like now your body's been given a chance to heal up those tight junctions. Cells are starting to communicate. They know what they have to heal. I have to heal that. I have to heal this. And so you're going to start looking younger because you're going to be feeling better. You're going to be looking younger, which is really, really neat. I think I want to just make sure I've covered everything. You know, there have been fumic earth supplements before, but this is non-oxidating. That's the big change, and how it's produced and everything is just so clean. But there's, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing been like this. I'd love everybody to own it. It's the price of maybe an inexpensive coffee a day. You know, not the $2 and $3 and, you know, whatever coffees. This is like, you know, an inexpensive coffee is about $1.30, I think. Anyway, it's somewhere around there. I'm not quite sure, but so worthwhile. It will work at the recommended dosage of 3 times a day, 1 teaspoon. 80% of the population will see results from that for sure. Then there's some like me and a couple of other people I know. They just, when they started it, they just, however, knew they went right up to 1 tablespoon 3 times a day, and instantly brain fog, everything. They noticed it. I've had people tell me all kinds of things, like people living in the Midwest who, when they were spraying, would go outside and feel metallic, not good, taste in their mouth. After ion, they didn't feel that anymore. Other people who had gone on vacation somewhere and picked up a bug in their intestines and were like really in pain and everything, taking ion, gone. Dogs too. I was talking to a guy whose dog had this allergy where he'd be eating his paws. You know, it was just itchy, driving him nuts. Couple of weeks, ion in his food, gone. So, you know, our animals are having all our disease because they're breathing in this too. It's in their foods. You know, it is just mind-boggling to me that that the body can keep us going with what we're dealing with. And it's just amazing. But then, in a way, it's not, because everything's accelerating. So the best thing we can do is, find out about ion. I mean, I'll put the website. It's www.intelligenceofnature.com. Find out all kinds of information there. There also, I believe, is a store locator on the site. You can order directly from the site, but if you have your local health food store or food co-op, and hopefully they already have it on the shelf, but having all the years of experience that I've had, first of all, you know, raising my daughter on organic foods. I mean, I've been shopping at these stores forever. So I've been the customer. Then I was head of the wellness department and a buyer. So, I've seen every side of it. And how many times when I found a product I wanted my local store to carry, I would buy the product wherever I could. Then I'd bring in the container so that they could take this code, right there, and I'd ask them to get it in. And I'd keep after them until they got it in. And if worse came to worse, I'd just order from the site. I'd go directly to the company, because something like this would have meant for me, I know it means the longevity of my dog. And I know I'm giving him absolutely the best thing I can do for him. I know it's my longevity and well-being. And I know it would have been my daughter's. And how can I not share something like that that's so important to us all? So please go to the website. Check this out. It's tasteless. It's easy. It's just like a new, This is a great, it just came to me. This is a great New Year's resolution. You know, it's so easy, and just stick to it. It's one of the easiest things to stick to. It's a habit of making sure you do something 3 times a day. I mean, we've got habits of brushing our teeth, you know, at least twice a day. So it's just making it work with your lifestyle. And I'm saying this because so many people would say, I'm really having trouble with the midday. And it stays in our body 6 to 8 hours. So that's why there's a midday. Taking it midday, because it stays 6 to 8 hours. You want this working on your tight junctions in the situations we're in right now all the time. The animal one only needs to be taken once a day. So that's easy. You know, you just put it, if you feed them twice a day, just put it in one, and you're good to go there. So work it around your lifestyle and make it a priority, because this is your base. This is your absolute base. This is where all your health and well-being stems from. When I said the serotonin, you know, that's for calm and your anxiety and, you know, and your immunity. All of that is so, so important to everything else that's going on in your body. So I think you picked up on why I'm really passionate about this. Thank you so much, and until the next time.